about these brakes a little bit. So one of the things with the stock brakes, you know, everybody knows they suck, dude. You get your car, they suck. They don't stop. Everybody swears that there's no way to make them work, whatever, what have you. And the biggest problem that everybody runs into is they just want to tighten that little adjuster up by the servo, and then they want it to still work better by just tightening that. It's gonna take you a lot more than just tightening an adjuster and shortening the linkage, more or less. One of the things that ends up happening with these levers and the cam, being that it's plastic and it's traxxas plastic, let's get real, is this will start to get stripped out and loose, which really kind of sucks, because if you got to be real careful. You know, you tighten this nut too much, and then it blows out the slotted cam hole. So one of the things you want to do is make sure that this is actually tight and not moving in there, right? See, like this, you can see this is brand new. It's probably hard to see. So that play right there, and this darn cam lever, is going to be your first devil and demon causing your brakes not to work or work insufficiently. You want to tighten that up and get rid of that, but not too much, because then you'll ruin the cam lever and you'll have to get a new one. And you can't just buy that. You gotta buy a whole freaking parts kit that comes with it's like the linkage, the cam lever, the other little Y link on the other side. Yeah, it's a whole little thing anyways. So that right there will be your first crappy part of your brakes, and the first failure that's making them suck, or suck even worse. So I mean, it's kind of a terrible design overall, or the placement of that is terrible. They should have put it out a little more. If you've ever looked at it enough, you've noticed that most of the time that lever runs into the side of the transmission, which makes them not get any tighter, right? Right. One of the things you could do is, where do I got that? So you get you a stick of square, stainless steel, aluminum. I would recommend getting aluminum. It dissipates the heat a little faster. If anything, I would say stainless steel, so it doesn't corrode in there, because that'll be a pain in the butt. So you could cut this down and make it just a little bit longer than your stock one, right? And clean it up and make it to where it fits in your little slot in your tranny and does its job, whatever. That's one of the things you can do. I've done it to a couple of them. It works good, but it still requires the right adjustment. Now, when you're talking about this little pusher here, I've seen them be both ways from the factory, and the one thing I've noticed is, for some reason, I feel like they work better when you put the hole out. I've seen a couple of things that have showed that that's the way they're supposed to be. That's the way I prefer them to be. So that's how I do it. And I just run the stock ones, because I don't put the double disc on all my cars. I mean, that's a little too much for me, especially, you know, you're talking 10, 12, 13 cars, whatever. You know, you see a lot of people talking about flipping the lever online and whatever, what have you. It's still, when they're improperly adjusted, they still don't work right. Still gonna suck. Oh yeah, there's another thing. Talk about that too. Where's that guy? Anyways, so you want to obviously make sure you have a good pad, a good disc and good pads. That's pretty essential overall. And same with your pads. You want to make sure you have good pads. They don't have to be brand new, but I mean, if you're starting to wear a groove in them that has grooves, I think it's time to probably look into getting new ones, right? Another thing that you could get, which is a nice little cool upgrade, just because it's aluminum. It's an aluminum upgrade, and everybody loves the aluminum upgrades. You can still find them, but these cute little disc adapters that go in here off of the shaft, you can get those, upgrade those. Those are nice to do and have. So yeah, but when you're talking adjusting these brakes, you can do it and make them work amazing. Like I said, all my cars, they lock up. They stop real well. Most of them have stock brakes. Okay? And I assure you, if you do this properly, your lever will maintain great spacing away from your housing. Great spacing. Another thing with these pads, when and if you're replacing them, you'll notice that one has more of a shiny or what looks to be a finished side, and one isn't. The one that looks a little less finished and a little less cute goes towards the pad. Put your pad on there. And if you're replacing your pad, when you're replacing it, try to keep it tight on that disc or on that biscuit adapter. Try not to blow it out too hard and make it all floppy wobbly. It kind of helps. I mean, it doesn't matter overall because of the way you adjust it in the end is what is really going to matter. But I mean, it makes it a little better when you're talking about stopping and whatnot. Give a shout out to Red Man from Red's Way YouTube channel. Go check him out, man. Give him a like and subscribe. He posts some pretty cool stuff. Yeah, shout out to him. Shout out to Jenny's RC Online. I use them for a lot of my stuff too. If you guys are looking for Jato, T-Max, I mean, really anything, dude, I would go straight to Jenny's RC Online. They are amazing. So this is another thing I highly recommend. If you guys do a lot of playing with your cars and whatnot, turning those freaking Allen wrenches and nut drivers by hand, hands start to get tired, especially when you have, an arsenal of Jatos, let alone everything else. I got 2 different kinds. You can get all of this on Amazon. Just check out Amazon, search electric screwdrivers. They are absolutely amazing. I wish I would have bought these sooner than I did, but it's okay, I have them now. They're great. I highly recommend them. Just remember, plastic and aluminum. You still have to be careful. So on these, since it's such a tedious adjustment, and it's got to be, semi, not precise, but I mean, come on, it's got to be pretty good. And you can do this on the car. It's a little bit harder, but it's doable. So then I'm going to switch over to the manual Allen wrench here, because that's the best thing to do with these brakes. But what you're looking to do is push your little excuse my language. Push your little square bar in there and make sure it's like flush in there, as much as you can get, right? And one of the things you're going to want to do is make sure you maintain level across here. So what I like to do is I just push on the pads there, pushing it up against that, keeping it in and allowing me to stay level. So I just do that, and then you just want to tighten this down to that. Tighten your screws down to the pads while you've got that level. So now we're dragging. But this is a healthy level of drag, especially being that you got a brand new disc, you got brand new pads. So this is a healthy level of drag here. Now, I wouldn't want to start with that because it might cause issues with like burning the pad. So what you want to do is just back each screw up a tiny bit and free it up. Now when you've got it pretty free, that's where you want to leave it. Excuse me. So now we're rolling freer. Still kind of got a little drag there. We're going to go a little tiny more. Now I'm barely bumping these out. So keep that in mind. There we go. Now look. I've got that all sucked down. And you can see I have got great space in between my lever and my tranny housing. Now these things are going to lock up as soon as you put this tranny on there, connect everything on there, and then tighten your little spring down a little bit. Like, these are going to lock up. Like, lock up. Now you don't have to necessarily have them lock up, and you can you can fix that with your adjustment knob on your servo at that point. That's what that's for. But when you're talking about the Jato brakes and them not working, they really suck. This is why. This is why they suck. Those pads have got so far to be sucked down to actually touch down and be pushed on by that little square bar, that you're out of square bar and brakes really before you even get them applied. So this is what you want to do with your Jato brakes, and you just want to make sure that you've got a nice even parallel line with your pads overall. I would recommend making sure your little square bar, the hole in it, is facing out. And like I said, if your pad looks burnt, replace it. I don't have a burnt one anymore. I used to have a burnt one. Yeah, just replace it. And your disc and your pads, just replace them if they don't look that great, or if you just want to start over, replace them. I promise you, if you do this to your Jato brakes, you will save yourself $50, and you will stop. You will stop. It will lock up, and if you don't want it to lock up, you just adjust it out on your servo. It's your little spring tensioner adjuster. You will stop. So that's how you do that. Like I said, you can do it on the car. I do it on the car. Unless I'm replacing the tranny for whatever reason, or I'm building a car, then I do it off the car. But I always just do it on the car. And it'll work great. I promise. I promise it will work great. Like I said, look at the space you got in there. And as soon as you touch that, like, it's touching down. It's pushing on those. It's pushing on those pads. And that's where the problem lies with these. It's like the little biscuit, the little square bar, isn't long enough, and they've got it so far out that your cam lever is touching down on the transmission housing, and the car's still rolling down the road as you've got 100% brakes applied. So there's that. Let me know what you guys think. Throw me some likes, shares, comments. Let me know what you want to see next. Let me know what you may need help with. I pretty much know everything there is to know about these Jatos, including where to find, hard to find parts, whatever. I'll be posting some more videos of other things, some builds and whatnot. I'll do a motor tear down and assembly, which is very, very straightforward. We'll get into some other things later, like tuning and actual modding of the motors, the sleeves, and things like that. So, yeah. Let me know what you guys think.